The Eagles finally signed somebody, guys. I mean, finally they signed somebody, and we should be a little excited because, we're lacking some signings here. We want more to happen. Howie told us to stay patient. And finally, we did sign somebody that which I think is really important. And finally, the Eagles have went to the pre-draft visits. They have switched from the offensive line, now going to the defensive line, getting a versatile player in this draft, bringing him in. We're going to talk about him and a lot of other things. So let's get straight into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope it's having a fantastic day today. This video is sponsored by BetUS, so definitely go check them out if you guys have not. So finally, the Eagles have signed a veteran offensive lineman to be the swing tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, 32-year-old Kendall Lamb. Okay, now Kendall Lamb's an interesting one. Okay, he's played in 119 games, 44 starts, 10-year NFL career. I've heard his name float around the last few years, but obviously I have gathered some information for you guys on him. Now, an undrafted free agent from the Texans in 2015, 6'5", 308 pounds. He played 4 years with Houston, 2 in Cleveland, 1 in Tennessee, and spent the last 3 years in Miami. Now, last year, played for the Miami Dolphins. Actually started 7 games for the Miami Dolphins, but end up having a back injury and then needed surgery. So he needs some back surgery, which is pretty serious surgery. So he was available. By the time the season starts, Kendall Lamb will be 33 years old. So they picked up a veteran, a very old veteran. That could be a nice insurance policy for, God forbid if Jordan Mailata has to be out one game, or Lane Johnson has to be out or something like that. So after Fred Johnson leaving on that 1-year deal to the Jaguars, and realistically, there's nobody else. So I'm expecting the Eagles are going to go out and probably get another tackle or something like that. They've the first 4 pre-draft visits were offensive linemen, guys that could play left tackle, left tackle, left guard, right guard, left tackle. I mean, that have had multiple starts in multiple positions for offensive lines in college, and maybe will transcend to the NFL. And obviously, Jeff Stalin will get a feel of these guys, see what they could do. So I think the competition is going to be really nice, especially at guard as well with Kenyon Green, Trevor Keegan, Tyler Steen, some of these other guys that are coming in for that right guard spot, whether it's wide open or is there a guaranteed starter at that guard spot. So nice that the Eagles did get a veteran player that's only going to be here for a year, but if he stays healthy within the offseason program, then that's absolutely fantastic. So, a guy with a lot of experience in the NFL, a lot of starts in the NFL, and can make his mark in Philadelphia as a really solidify that backup tackle spot. Obviously, he's a little older, so I don't think you're going to extend him or anything in the future. But at least for this year, you have a reliable backup, and that's always a great thing. Now, secondly, we went through the pre-draft visits, okay, and the first 4 have been offensive linemen, and we're like, hey, when are they going to get to the good stuff on defense? Why not? I know we need to look at other positions, but it looks like the Eagles have looked at Elijah Roberts, okay, from SMU, okay. Now he can play outside linebacker, he could play the 3 tech, he could play the edge. I mean, you have a diverse player right here that could really play all over the place. And when Fangio is looking at guys that are athletically gifted. Now, this guy's projection is like a 6-rounder. Okay, so maybe if he's projected a 6-rounder, Fangio projects him maybe as a 5th, maybe as a 4th. I don't know. Obviously, Jalix Hunt was the 3rd-round pick, and we were waiting for him to really get his chance in the rotation. Didn't happen until late in the season. A few games where it was like his preseason, and then going to the playoffs, he really started to do some great things. I don't mind getting depth. Not only do the Eagles hit on defensive line once in this draft, but I think they will hit on this position 2 times. Okay, they'll hit this position 2 times, and we'll see what the Eagles do. I think when it comes to the defensive line, There's a lot of factors that go into obviously contracts, which we talked about for the last couple weeks. Okay, we're not just talking about this year, we're talking about expiring contracts and guys they want to bring in. Hopefully, the Eagles could hit on some of these guys in the mid rounds because potentially the last few years, the Eagles have hit on so many draft picks. And, Howie Roseman gets his criticisms at times for either signing bad free agent contracts like Bryce Huff or maybe seeing guys like Moro Jomo in the seventh round that's realistically has given so much pressure to offensive line in the last couple years. His percentages, his statistics are absolutely crazy and probably could take that Milton Williams spot. Jalix Hunt really transcending. Nolan Smith really getting the opportunity with really good coaching behind him. And look what he's turned into as a first round pick. And that's what we really wanted to see. And his career is just getting started. Okay. Obviously, losing Milton Williams, losing Josh Sweat. You obviously have to replace that talent, but Fangio is now starting to bring in his own guys that he likes, his own talent that he likes. And he likes these edge rushers that could play outside linebacker, that could drop into coverage in this scheme in multiple fronts. You're going to be dropping into coverage as an edge rusher, something that Josh Sweat really didn't like doing at all. Okay. So Elijah Roberts is the first one off the board on a pre-draft visit right now. Wouldn't shock me. I would like to see if they're going to bring anybody else in from the first round. Whether it's Michael Williams or it's some of these other guys that are, just really just could drop in this draft. And, I think edge rushers are going to go really fast. Not only do the Eagles hit on this position, defensive line in the first round, but I think they will hit this position later on as well in the mid rounds to the late rounds. Get a guy that is more of a role player for this defense and, has a really good camp. And who knows what, some of these guys could really turn into later on. So that's pretty much it for the pre-draft visits. I know there'll be more. If I'm late on some of them, I will get them out on some videos later on because I want to go over everybody that they brought in, kind of study of who they brought in, and what's the reason for it, and does it make sense involving the contracts that are expiring, and where do they really want the depth? And I feel like you never can have enough defensive linemen on this roster. Okay, with a pretty good secondary, obviously some questions at safety, questions at depth at linebacker. If Trotter Jr. is going to be the guy, or a really cornerback too at this point with what's going on. If there's really a competition with Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo and what's going on there. So there's still a lot of questions right now. Nothing is really solidified yet, but due time, we're going to find out where we will go through all these pre-draft visits as they're happening and see what is really making sense for the Eagles for this entire draft and what they're really aiming for. So sorry to rant so much about it, but we have to go over everything, obviously. But let me know what you guys think about Kendall Lamb, the veteran 32-year-old, will be 33 by the season starts as a nice backup swing tackle for the Eagles and getting a lot. And obviously Elijah Roberts in his pre-draft visit with the Eagles, he's already visited a couple teams already. I think I forgot if it was the other day he visited, but it seemed like the Eagles really do like him, which is great. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day, and make sure you like the video because it helps out tremendously. And I will see you guys on the next one. I know it was a short one today, but the news is a little lacking right now. So you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes about follow. So peace out, guys. Peace.